What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another look at recent sales for the vintage collection. Not too many crazy items that have sold this week, but I did want to cover some ungraded as well as graded gems. Another Salacious Crumb sold, some graded Fets, and I've heard from a number of you on a few characters that you'd like me to talk about. You can leave a comment below as you like this video with more characters or more card backs that you would like to get more price data on, and I'll try to cover those in the next vintage collection market update next week. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. One of the characters that is always popular, and I did receive a lot of requests privately to talk about some of the different card back variations for Boba Fett and recent prices. I've got a few of you that are out there looking right now that Boba Fett Mint on Card TVC has kind of come back down to earth, so to speak, after the super big highs that we saw during the Book of Boba Fett, and after that, they've kind of slowly come back down to earth, and that's true even for the vintage Kenner versions of Boba Fett. Prices have definitely come way back down. So I've had a number of you asked about Boba Fett, so I did pick out a few recent sales. The first is the Ultimate Galactic Hunt foil version of Boba Fett VC09. This is the US version. This one sold for $200, so that's one data point there. And then here was another one that, again, you're kind of taking a little bit of a risk that the card back is in as good a shape as you think it will be, because the photos do not show it outside of the star case. But this one did look pretty clean, just trying to zoom in on it. It may not be quite as nice as this one. This one looked really clean, really clean. But this one did sell as well, and it sold for a lot less. This one was listed for $175. The best offer accepted on that one was $150. So $150, and this one sold for $200. So that gives you a couple of nice data points for the foil Ultimate Galactic Hunt Fett. Here is an unpunched Revenge of the Jedi Boba Fett. This is obviously the offer list that came in the SDCC exclusive Death Star set. So always a desirable one. I had a Patreon buy it now alert for this exact item for $100. That one sold immediately. So that's one data point. And then this one also did sell for $130 plus $8 shipping. So $100 to $138 for an unpunched US version of the Revenge of the Jedi offer list. So good data point there. The Prototype Fett, this is one that has also come back down to earth a little bit. This one sold for $80 and also did include a little bit tatty mailer box, but the actual item itself was in really great shape. The VC61 Prototype Armor Fett, $80 on that one plus $8 shipping. And then the Rocket Firing Fett is another one a number of you have asked about. This one too has come way back down in price. This one, it looks like to me the punch on this one has been kind of put back in there. It doesn't look like it's truly unpunched to me, but no way to know for sure. But VCPO3, the mail away Fett, this one sold for $100 in an auction. And then this one did look like a true unpunched example, and that one included the mailer box. That one sold for $107.50. So let's call it about $100 for the Rocket Firing Fett. I think that's a pretty good buy if you can get that one anywhere around $100. That's way down. I mean, during the Book of Boba Fett, this one was going for like $200 plus ungraded, and then like $500 in like an uncirculated AFA 9.0. So crazy prices, and they've come way back. Next up was an unpunched Darth Vader name pill VC13 Anakin from the Revenge of the Sith, and this one did look like it had a little crease or something right there on the left-hand side by the blister, but always desirable to get that one unpunched. A little bit tougher to find. Obviously, the Anakin Skywalker name pill unpunched, very expensive. That one sold for $140. This was a buy it now alert that sold really quickly. I'm glad I found this one. I think that was a really good deal. This one was for a lot of two. This was the Obi-Wan on the Attack of the Clones card back, unpunched VC31, really great shape. And it also included the Battle Droid from the Phantom Menace that was unpunched with the Darth Maul offer sticker US card. Both of those card backs were in really great shape. $100. Free shipping on that one for both of those together. I thought that was a great deal. Really good deal on that one, and a Patreon supporter did pick that one up. Next up was Commander Gree, unpunched. This one looked like it might have had a little issue, maybe. A little crease up there by the warning sticker. But this was a Commander Gree on the US card. This one sold over in the UK. This one was pretty rough condition, really. I mean, it wasn't in great shape, and it still sold for let's see, 125 pounds, which is 157 US dollars. I think if you're going to pay that much, just wait for a cleaner example. This one had obvious warping to the card, some creases and things like that. But I just want to show these because people are paying these prices without really taking a closer look at the photos. And, you know, this is one I think that, at least over here in the US, you can pick this up for that price, 150 bucks all day long in near mint plus condition. So maybe it's a little different again. We talked about this in the last video where some characters in the US market on eBay are a lot cheaper than the UK, and then vice versa. Like Han Solo Yavin Ceremony is apparently really expensive over in the UK, maybe not so much over here. And same thing can be said for Commander Gree, at least over here for the US card. Really clean condition, 140 bucks, maybe 160 at the top end, versus over in the UK, this one sold for 157 US dollars, 125 pounds. So just make sure to be patient. Again, it may be different over there. This one was here in the US. This was a punched example of VC44, but this was the clearer Saber Luke Dagobah landing, and this one sold for $117. But again, I think you can pick this one up for maybe slightly more unpunched. This one has definitely come back down a little bit, although it's still kind of holding its own. It has come back down probably 20 to 30 bucks, but this one was a punched example, clear Saber version, and it did have a lot of edge wear at the top of the card. So patience is key. Next up was an ARC Trooper Commander on the Expanded Universe card, unpunched, really clean condition. That one sold for $112.50. This seller, Bygone Collectibles, that's a really good seller to keep track of and maybe track because he gets a lot of TVC 1.0 in really clean condition. I've seen a number of those that I thought were very fairly priced. So probably a seller to keep an eye out for. Grand Moff Tarkin, that's another one that has really come back up. This one sold for $100 in a buy it now situation. I sent that out to Patreon supporters. I assume that's one who bought it. Now, there's another one that is still at auction right now that's already at $118, and it has not closed yet. There's still a couple of days left on that auction as of the making of this video. So this one is looking like a really good deal. And that's a character that has really jumped up, is Grand Moff Tarkin. It got down even below $100. This one sold for $100. There's another one at auction that admittedly is in really clean condition that's at 20% higher already, and it still has not closed. So if you don't have Grand Moff Tarkin VC98, I know it's not the greatest face sculpt and probably due for an update, but if you're looking for that original, try to pick it up for about $100. Here was the European, well, it has the European stickers on the front, but it's missing the warning stickers on the back, so maybe it just missed it. But these two blacked out stickers, I think, are really for the European market, but it's missing the warning labels sticker on the back. But this one sold in an auction in Japan, so that may have held the price down a little bit, just given, you know, it's $8 shipping, economy shipping. You're hoping that they pack it well. I don't know if it's a cultural issue. I've talked about this in past videos, so I apologize for repeating myself. I don't know if it's a cultural issue or not, but I feel like Japanese sellers, they use these e-packets that are like really cheap, and they're only like $8 shipping, economy shipping, but they don't pack them well. And the item tends to get really damaged in shipping. I've had like 2 or 3 instances for Japanese sellers, and I know that's painting a broad stroke. I'm sure there's plenty of Japanese sellers that pack really well and protect the item well, but it concerns me when I see shipping of $8 from Japan on such an expensive item. But this one did sell for $177.50, but kind of a unique item. I don't see any litho tears where the sticker was removed, so you know, it may just have missed it, or maybe these were what was sold in the UK, in Japan, some of these UK hybrid sticker variations for the vintage collection. But anyway, I would always encourage you, especially with Japanese sellers, to say, hey, look, I know it's only $8 shipping, but please pack it well so it doesn't get damaged, because the box they use for these e-packets are really flimsy, has been my experience. So I haven't bought from, you know, a fair disclosure here, I haven't bought from any Japanese sellers in a long time, so it might be a lot different now, but you know, I'm going on past memories of being crushed by having items sent from Japan that didn't make it. And I have had a few that have, but It's just one of those things that I seem to remember. It got permanently scarred after this beautiful Sakuda Japanese market Kenner Leia Bouche. It was mint on card, and it was flawless, and it arrived. The blister was shattered, and I was really upset about it. So it is what it is. Weequay, this is another one I sent in a buy it now alert that sold quick. There was a beautiful unpunched Weequay. Again, that one's really come back down to earth. It's followed the same path that almost every single reissue has done, and more on that in a little while. But Weequay, the original issue, is really, really dropped in price. This one sold for $72. Very good deal on that one. Sand Trooper, this seller has 2 still available, but it's a punched example, unfortunately. If he had some unpunched, it'd be really nice. Well, he does have one unpunched, and, you know, maybe the one that did sell, it could have been the unpunched, is my guess. They probably messaged him and said, hey, I'm paying for this now. I'd like to buy the unpunched. That now, at $140, that's not a terrible deal. I think for the punched examples, I wouldn't pay $140. I'd pay like $100. It seems like the unpunched examples now are in that $120 to $140 range. So I could see paying $140. And I'm guessing that whoever bought the one that sold, there's 2 still available. They're probably both the punched examples. But he probably messaged the seller and said, hey, I want that unpunched one for $140. But anyway, that's kind of a good data point there for the VC112 Sand Trooper Dirty Paint Apps. Next up, we've got some graded examples. This is that uncirculated 9.25 Rogue One Imperial Death Trooper. Beautiful card back. Love the card image on that. That one sold for $145 in an auction. I had that in a what to buy video. 16 bids on that one. Next up is the awesome comic Boba Fett's. I had these in what to buy videos. A UKG 95 gold Death, Lies, and Treachery Boba Fett comic art edition. That one did sell for 104 pounds, which is 130 US dollars. 95% gold on that one. And then here was that vintage comic art edition UKG 95%. That one sold for 110 pounds, which is 138 US dollars. The biggest shocker was the vintage style Boba Fett with the Star Wars racetrack. That one was a UKG 95% and sold for 217 pounds, which is 273 US dollars. Big number on that one. And the person who bought it is in the TVC Rebels group on Facebook. And he fessed up to it, and everyone was kind of giving him a little bit of a hard time because that price really jumped. It went really high. But, you know, it is what it is. It's an awesome item, and I can understand the appeal of paying that for a UKG 95%. But some of the other members were giving him a hard time, jokingly, of course. But beautiful item, 273 US dollars, 217 pounds. Big number on that one. A UKG 90% Han Solo Stormtrooper also sold. This one was listed for 190 pounds and sold for 150 pounds, which is 190 US dollars. This was a little bit of a surprise to me, and admittedly it was a buy it now, so you never know what's going on there, but you know, it could have been someone wanting to fill in their collection. But this was a Rise of Skywalker Sith Trooper, which is not particularly in demand, but it was a 9.0 gold label AFA listed for 230 US dollars, and the best offer that was accepted was 180. And I would argue that's probably at least double what I've seen them sell for in auctions. So who knows? But, you know, maybe somebody just really wanted this Sith Trooper. The one that's really expensive is the Amazon exclusive Armory Pack version of the Sith Trooper. This is just the standard version, though, and did sell for $180 according to eBay. So who knows what's going on there. Going back to reissue discussion, we talked a little bit about this last week. Here is the Salacious Crumb Revenge of the Jedi. And a number of you did mention, I think it was Phil the Force mentioned that this is going to be reissued, but on a Return of the Jedi. And my question to you guys is this Revenge of the Jedi Salacious Crumb going to hold its value because it's a slight card variation versus this SDCC Revenge of the Jedi Salacious Crumb? I still argue that this one is going to go down in price, and I might be wrong. You know, I just don't see big-time collector, the big-time collectors, they're going to want both, right? But I think that for most collectors that collect the vintage collection, they're not going to pony up a lot of money for it. And this one sold in an auction for $576. And It was in pretty decent shape. It had some edge wear and things like that. But we just talked about one that was an AFA graded example that sold for triple this price, or almost triple this price. And me personally, I don't see this one holding its value. I think it's going to follow the same path that every single other reissue has taken, that it's going to drop in price. So me personally, I think if you want the original issue, maybe wait until after the Return of the Jedi version of Salacious Crumb hits the market. So it'll be interesting to see. Let me know in the comments below if you disagree. I've already heard from some of you, but I would be curious to see if this one holds up. I don't think it will, but maybe it will, because it was an SDCC exclusive. It is a different card, Revenge versus Return of the Jedi. But either way, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this one long term, and whether it bucks the trend that pretty much every single other reissue, the original issue has always gone down in price. So I hope you enjoyed this look at recent sales for the Vintage Collection. Again, please leave a like if you liked it. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.